Today, we're going to talk about something we all use every single day, but probably never give a second thought to: the roads right under our wheels. And it turns out there's an incredible innovation hiding in plain sight, one that could literally change how we build our world.
So let's just dive right in with a wild idea. What if two of our most common waste products, the stuff we just throw away, could actually solve a massive environmental and economic problem? Well, that's the core idea we are unpacking today.
But, before we can get to the really cool solution, we've got to understand the problem. And it all starts with our planet's, kind of insatiable appetite for new asphalt.
Let's face it, we need roads. They connect our communities, they drive our economies. But the traditional way we make them, using all new or virgin materials, comes with a really steep and often hidden cost. And the scale of this impact is just staggering. We're talking about digging up finite resources from quarries, using huge amounts of energy, and pumping out some serious carbon emissions every single step of the way. It's this whole cycle of extraction and consumption that, let's be honest, just isn't sustainable.
So, this brings us to what seems like a pretty obvious answer, right? Why not just recycle our old roads? This is where a material called reclaimed asphalt pavement, or RAP for short, comes into the picture.
And the benefits? They're undeniable. Look at this. Across every key metric, cost, energy use, CO2 emissions, using recycled asphalt is a clear winner. It's just a smarter, greener way to build.
Okay, let's put a dollar figure on this, because this is where it gets really wild. We're talking about a potential saving of up to $94,000 per mile. Now, imagine multiplying that by the millions of miles of roads being built and repaired all the time. The economic case is just slam dunk.
And it's not just about the money. Not at all. The environmental savings are just as impressive. By using this reclaimed stuff, especially with some modern techniques, we can slash energy use by as much as 15%. That's a huge step in the right direction.
All right, so this begs a really important question, right? If it's cheaper, if it's better for the planet, and it uses materials we already have, why isn't every single road made from high-content recycled asphalt? Well, as you might have guessed, there's a catch.
The dream of a 100% recycled road has been held back by a major technical problem. A cracking problem, to be exact. So here's the deal. When the amount of that recycled material, the RAP, is kept kinda low, say under 30%, the road performs just like new. It's great. But the minute you start pushing that content higher, above 40%, the mix gets brittle. It becomes way more likely to crack, and that seriously cuts down its lifespan.
So what's actually going on here? Well, the science comes down to this thing called the binder. It's the black, sticky goo that holds all the rocks together. Over years of being a road, this binder just gets old and hard. The best way to think about it is like an old rubber band, It loses its stretch, it gets brittle, and then snap. It breaks easily. That's exactly what's happening inside our old asphalt.
But what if you could give that old, brittle binder its youth back? What if you could somehow turn back the clock on that aging process? This is where the story gets really, really clever, and it all involves finding a secret ingredient in our own trash.
The solution has a name: rejuvenators. And you can pretty much think of them as a moisturizer for old roads. They're these special agents that basically restore the flexibility and performance that the asphalt binder loses over time.
So here's how it works. You take the rejuvenator, you mix it in with the old, brittle asphalt. It goes in there and it replenishes all the lost chemical compounds, the stuff that made it flexible to begin with. And the result? The binder gets its elasticity and its strength back, which means we can safely use way higher percentages of recycled material.
And honestly, this is the most amazing part of the whole thing. The most effective rejuvenators aren't some super expensive, complicated chemical cooked up in a lab. They are two things we produce in massive amounts and then just throw away. Used engine oil from our cars and used vegetable oil from our kitchens. And hey, the science absolutely backs this up. This table just shows a little bit of the research, but the trend is crystal clear. Waste engine oil, WEO, is proven to reverse that hardening and make the whole mix more stable. And then you've got waste vegetable oil, WVO, which can make old asphalt perform almost identically to new stuff, making it way more resistant to cracking. The bottom line is, it works. It really works.
So what does this all mean for the future? Well, when you put all these pieces together, you arrive at a truly elegant, what you might call a circular solution.
The research we've been looking at today is a really big deal because it's the first to really compare both of these waste oils head to head in asphalt with up to 50% recycled content. That's a total game changer. It gives us a dual waste solution. Think about that. It tackles hazardous waste oil, and it lets us recycle more of our old roads. It's a perfect example of a circular economy in action.
The ultimate takeaway is this. By being really clever about our chemistry, we can transform two common pollutants, two things we want to get rid of, into a high-value resource. And that allows us to build the roads we need in a way that is cheaper, stronger, and just dramatically better for the planet.
So that leaves us with one last thought to chew on. If we can turn our old roads and yesterday's French fry oil into the highways of tomorrow, what other incredible solutions are we overlooking, hiding in plain sight?